How do you control key squares in chess? Have you ever wondered how controlling specific squares can change the outcome of a chess game? Let's break down the concept of key square control and how you can use it to your advantage. Key squares are essential in chess, especially during endgames and certain middle game positions. These squares can lead to significant advantages, like promoting a pawn or limiting your opponent's movements. First, let's understand what key squares are. In king and pawn endgames, key squares are those that, if occupied by your king, can help you achieve a favorable result. The exact key squares depend on the position of your pawn. For example, if you have a pawn on the 5th rank, the key squares are usually the 2 ranks ahead of the pawn and the squares next to them. When your king reaches a key square, you gain the ability to support your pawn's advance or block your opponent's king from stopping it. Now, how do you control these key squares? The most straightforward way is by moving your king onto them. This is especially vital in endgames, where the position of your king can determine the game's outcome. In more complex positions, you can use other pieces like knights, bishops, and rooks to influence or attack those squares. This prevents your opponent from occupying them. Your pawn structure also plays a role in controlling key squares. Pawns can occupy or attack key squares, which restricts your opponent's king or pieces from accessing those critical points. Another important concept is prophylaxis. This means you restrict your opponent's play by controlling important squares they might want to use. By anticipating their plans and controlling key squares, you limit their options and improve your position. In practical terms, knowing the key squares helps you decide where to place your king in king and pawn endgames to ensure promotion or block your opponent. In openings and middle games, controlling key squares often means occupying or attacking squares that serve as strong posts for your pieces. This can significantly restrict your opponent's counterplay. For example, if you have a pawn on the 5th rank, the key squares usually include the squares 2 ranks ahead and to the sides of the pawn. Occupying these squares with your king can guarantee promotion. In certain openings, controlling squares like d5 or f4 can be critical because they serve as strong posts for knights or block opponent pawn breaks. Controlling key squares means identifying those critical squares that influence the position's outcome. Then, use your king, pieces, and pawns to occupy or influence those squares. This control restricts your opponent's options and creates opportunities for you to advance your strategy, especially in endgames where precise king placement is essential.